Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another video for EVE Online. In today's video I want to talk about the new pirate faction ships coming in the Havoc update in November. I'm really excited by Havoc, there's a lot of really cool stuff coming, and I do want to cover a lot of the bits and pieces that are going to be arriving in that update over the next coming weeks, because Havoc is fast approaching, and as I said, I am personally super hype about it. I hope you are too. But today I want to focus specifically on the new Titan battlecruisers and destroyers, because I'm already seeing a lot of misinformation going around the interwebs on all of these as it stands, and quite frankly, the information's readily available out there for those who want to look. So if people aren't seeing the information, screw it, let's talk about it in video format, right? Kind of treat this a little bit like a podcast. The only graphics on screen here are going to be the text of this particular article as I read through it, add my thoughts and opinions, and explain kind of what's going on with the information I have beyond this as well. A little bit of experience in here as well, thankfully, due to having flown some of these ships. If you do enjoy this kind of format video for EVE Online, let me know, hit like on the video and drop a comment down below telling me, yeah, we want to see more of this, Benzie, or if you think there's things I could do better or improve, love to get your feedback. If you want to help support the channel financially, I've got my Patreon page, my PayPal tip jar, and my Redbubble merchandise store, and linked down below as well, you'll also find my referral link to get yourself 1 million free skill points on an EVE Online account. Can be a new account, can be an existing account. If you haven't used a referral link before, you just click that, 1 million free skill points gets added to your account, and I get a little bit of a kickback as well, which is super, super sweet. Finally, whilst you're down there, Catskull Community Discord is linked as well. Great place to come and chat with more like-minded EVE Online players. Great bunch of folks there, happy to help in any way they can, and that's how you join the Catskull Cartel in-game. That all said and done then, let's jump right into talking about the new Pirate, Titan, battlecruisers, and destroyers. So they say here, the countdown to EVE Online Havoc, the upcoming second major expansion for EVE in 2023, following hot on the tails of Viridian, continues with this third installment of Havoc in Focus series. This is due to land on the 14th of November. Put that into your diaries now. 14th of November is when Havoc will launch fully. It's going to introduce a brand new Angel Cartel Kisriel class battlecruiser, the Guristus Alligator class battlecruiser, I'm so excited I can't speak, and the long-awaited Angel Cartel Azariel class Titan. It will also update the new destroyers, the Mechubal and the Mumba, and how we get those, so do bear that in mind. These ships were unveiled in detail at EVE FanFest 2023 to much excitement. Here we get the lowdown. Now I'm not going to play the videos here, that you can come through to the article and have a look at these yourself. So, destroyers and battlecruisers. The appeal of pirate spacecraft is never far from the dream of representing the pirate factions in New Eden, and this is one of the things they talked about a lot at FanFest, that they want EVE to be the ultimate sci-fi sandbox, and that means they want players to essentially be able to roleplay as pirates. They want you to be a full-on Angel Cartel pirate or Guristus pirate if that's what you want. So they want to be able to expand those repertoires to allow you to kind of do that. If you want to be a corporation based around the Guristus pirates and you're just going to fly around in purely Guristus ships, personally I think that's a really cool concept. I would love to see folks doing that in-game. Certainly there is a bit of Angel Cartel backstory to my personal character. Yes, I have EVE Online lore in my character bio, and you know, it's like I have a history for what I want my character to be. I love that aspect of the game. I know not everyone does, but hey, that's who I am. So, yeah, we're going to absolutely fuel that fantasy, along with staying true to offering unique bonuses and challenges to unlockers with other pirate ships in EVE. Now, the Angel Cartel and Guristus pirate factions will be getting new battle cruisers when Havoc is launched. The new destroyers, the Mechubal and Mumba, are already in-game, with BPCs available to those who've successfully carried out all of the necessary tasks in the Awakening Zarzak event. That's the whole thing of going off to a drifter hive, going out to forgotten relic sites and unsecured data sites, finding those items, dropping them off in Zarzak for the token, then taking that token either to an Angel Cartel or Guristus station and buying the blueprint for those there. We've already seen the price of those destroyers has drastically fallen. I have done videos on the Mechubal and on the Mumba. I've got 2 different videos on the Mumba, so worth checking out, as I tried different fits for those and kind of put them through their paces. I really like both of them. I do think there are slight buffs that the Angel Cartel one specifically could get. I think the Mumba is in a good position, though it would like a touch more fitting, like PG and CPU on it, but again, we'll talk about that later. So, the Guristas have the Mumba-class destroyer based on the Corax, I really like that vessel. I think it is a solid ship. I think it is very much PvE oriented. It does Abyssal Dead Spaces really well, and I'm excited to see when that becomes more readily available. A lot of people running the Mumba, 2 of them side by side in things like T3, T4, maybe even T5 Abyssal Dead Spaces. Looking forward to hearing how you folks get on with that. We've got the upcoming Alligator class battlecruiser based on the Drake hull. Now, both of these share the same missile firepower as the hulls they're based on, while also having the Guristas drone boat bonuses and shield resistances, making them incredibly durable and also capable of delivering significant damage at the same time. And the Mumba really is an absolute powerhouse. Yeah, sure, it's a destroyer, it has that typical glass cannon destroyer feel to it, but oh boy, it kicks out a lot of damage. It really, really does. And I am super hype about more people getting into that ship and seeing that hull put rigorously through its paces. On the flip side, the Angel Cartel has the Mekubal class destroyer, which, again, I've really enjoyed. I've not had as much opportunity to run that through its paces as I have with the Mumba. I ran it through a C13, and it did surprisingly well in that, but I do see that as being more a PvP-oriented ship, and quite frankly, at the time I was making that video, undocking a 7 billion-isk hull at that point for PvP just really didn't seem worth it. But as the price drops, again, I'll be undocking that more and more, putting it through its paces and trying different things with it. Then we also have the upcoming Kizriel class battlecruiser. These are completely new hull designs rather than the Guristas being based on the Corax and the Drake. They feature high projectile DPS and fall-off bonuses, which does somewhat favour autocannons, whilst also boasting the high level of mobility that Capsuleers would expect from Angel ships, with warp speed bonuses and top speeds for their class. And just look at the Kizriel. Look at it. It is a beautiful ship. I cannot wait to fly this thing. It just looks stunning. Like, that is everything you expect an Angel Cartel battlecruiser to be, and I cannot wait. These are the first pirate faction destroyers and battlecruisers introduced to EVE that Capsuleers can fly. It's worth noting, obviously, there are hulls in the game that Capsuleers can't fly. Do enough Abyssal Dead Spaces and you'll start to see things like Sancha frigates and Angel Cartel frigates that we can't fly, so maybe those will be added at some point in the future. That could be really cool. They're ships that the community has wanted for some time, and it's worth addressing at this point that I don't think they will end here. I do genuinely think that things like Serpentis, Sancha, and the Blood Raiders will start to get destroyers and battlecruisers as well at some point in the future, because obviously Havoc at the moment is focused on the Angel Cartel and the Guristas, but I don't see a good reason for excluding the Blood Raiders and the Serpentis in the long term. Sancha, bit more of a difficult one due to how they operate as a faction in terms of lore. But again, I do see at some point in the future Sancha getting more ships added to their roster as well, and that is super, super exciting. It also means that EVE Vanguard at the moment, being based primarily around this whole Guristas and Angel thing, we do stand the chance at some point in the future of Vanguard being expanded. This is the first-person shooter, of course, being expanded to also include Serpentis, Blood Raiders, and yeah, perhaps Sancha. And how cool could that be, right? Adding them to the Havoc expansion builds on the introduction of Navy-issue destroyers and battlecruisers in 2022's Uprising expansion. That's things like the Thrasher Fleet issue, Cormorant Fleet issue, Cormorant Navy issue, sorry, and then, of course, things like the Cyclone Fleet issue and Ferox Navy, that kind of thing in 2022. Design and balance of these pirate destroyers and battlecruisers takes strong inspiration from existing pirate craft. For example, Guristas Alligator battlecruiser could be seen as merging of the Caldari Drake and the Guristas Healer class cruiser in terms of attributes, and that's actually genuinely a good way of looking at it. You're kind of seeing that it is essentially a Drake that also has some of the healer abilities, which is perfect. That's what a Guristas battlecruiser should be, in my opinion. The Mumba and Alligator share the same slot layout as the Corax and the Drake, respectively. So if you're used to fitting a Corax or a Drake, then the Mumba and Alligator will be familiar to you in regards to those. For the Angel ships, on the other hand, the Mekubal has a high, mid, low slot layout of 634. I do kind of wish that that was 644 or maybe even 544, like as a way of breaking that, because it's tough to shield tank it properly with only 3 mids, because you do want a little bit of tackle or something in there. But again, this is personal opinion. Once these are out and about a bit more, we'll see people with better knowledge and better gameplay skills than I am flying them, and probably there'll be some nice meta fits available. I will cover those as they get dropped on my doorstep. Whereas the Kisriel having a 756 is really, really nice. That is such a nice slot layout. As it says here, the Angel ships are fairly flexible to either armor or shield tanked. When it comes down to it, the Mechabal, I really think armor is kind of the only way that you can really work it properly. You can shield, but shield is going to be fairly weak, which I suppose plays into the Destroyer kind of glass cannon feel, but I don't know. I think armor is the way to go currently with the Mechabal, and there is a part of me that hopes they do change that a little bit, but who knows. Of the two, the Kisriel and the Mumba, the Mumba definitely felt like the stronger of the two. Sorry, the Mechabal and the Mumba definitely felt like the stronger of the two. But the Kisriel, 756, that's a lot of firepower. You can definitely shield tank that, and with 6 low slots, oh boy, like imagine full shield tank down the right-hand side, a little bit of application in there as well, so maybe like 4 shield modules, or 3 shield modules, propulsion mod and tackle, combined with a load of like tracking and gyros in the lows with a damage control and something else, I don't know. I'm spitballing here, I've not really thought about it all that much as of yet. I really think that can be quite powerful, or going full armor tank and your shields just being, your mid-slots being full tackle and propulsion. Oh, there's a lot of really quite sexy things you can do with the Kisriel, and again, a ship that beautiful, it kind of deserves it. The Battlecruiser and Destroyer blueprint copies will be in the Pirate Insurgent loyalty point stores come 14th of November and release of Havoc. So when you do the Pirate faction content, so going into these new invasions and earning Angel Cartel or Guristas Pirates LP, you'll be able to buy the blueprint copies straight from there. And here you can see we've got Malakim Zealots here is the station name. This is the blueprints here. So you can buy, obviously, like a Macariel blueprint already in these places, but they'll be adding all of the others there. You've got the Azariel one for a whopping 150 million loyalty points and 150 billion ISK. It's a Titan. If anyone was expecting that to be cheap, like, seriously, what the hell were you thinking? It's not going to be cheap. It's going to be a bloody expensive ship, all of them. But they're Pirate faction vessels. That's how it works. Give it a little bit of time after release, those prices will start to come down as more and more people build up loyalty points. The first ones on the market are going to be ludicrously expensive because people are banking on that whole, I've got the first one, and thus it's sort of the FOMO of being first. Then, oh boy, we have the Azariel. I am not a big fan of Capitals personally. I'm not saying they don't have a place in the game. I understand where they fit in the game, and I do have an alt that's currently trained into flying a Naglfar. However, Capitals and Titans have just never really appealed to me personally all that much until I saw the Azariel. And yeah, this is probably going to be a long-term goal for me now in EVE, getting into an Azariel. I live in a wormhole, so I can't even fly the bloody thing, but I still want one, right? So, Pirate Destroyers and Battlecruisers were ships that capsuleers were hungry for, then they were positively ravenous for the Angel Cartel in Titan that was introduced some years ago in the form of concept art. Yeah, it's been a bit of a running joke that they got the concept art for the coolest looking Titan in the game and then it just never got released. Effectively, the Angel logo viewed from above and turned into a ship design. That concept art has been referred to by those wishing to see the Angel Titan take actual form from within EVE. And it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Finally, in Havoc, Angel Cartel will roll out their long-awaited Titan, the Azariel. It's based on older concept designs, there was always something promising there to work with, and further concepts were produced based on subsequent passes made on those original designs. So it's not just, oh, we took that old design and just did it. They've actually looked at that and gone, right, how can we make it even better? And I love the running theme that all of these ships have the Angel Cartel logo lit up in the middle here. It's just beautiful. Come on. Anyway, modified to reflect the standard seen in today's EVE ship designs, inspiration was drawn from sources such as animal skulls and insect armor plates, thus the Azariel was born. And that definitely fits in with the feeling of Angel Cartel. How many people call the Cinnabal the Doom Roach? It looks like a cockroach, right? The Dramiel has kind of the horns and very beetle-like look to it as well. Not quite a succubus, but you know, it's there. Anyway, the Pirate Behemoth maintains one of the signature Angel Cartel ship bonuses to warp speed, which, yeah, at first glance may not make great sense for a ship this size of a Titan. However, it works very well for a specific type of gameplay. Its warp speed bonus will allow the Azariel to get safe from hazardous circumstances in a shorter time, giving it something of an edge. With its extremely high projectile turret DPS, second only in the Titan ecosystem to the Vanquisher, it has the highest potential alpha strike of all EVE ships. The ability to get in and out quickly, applying a monstrous amount of immediate DPS in alpha, makes the Azariel the ultimate hyperdunking Titan. Yeah, how long until Frat drop one of these on us when we're running a Tech 1 cruise? cruiser fleet. The Azariel BPC, which is shade. Oh, the shade. The Azariel BPC will be available in the Angel Cartel Pirate Insurgent LP store. Over the last couple of years, Pirate Faction Titans have had a wide range of build materials and cost and methods of acquisition. The addition of the Azariel, another Pirate Titan, meant that there was an opportunity to simplify the field, making balancing easier, make the Titans comparative to one another. Long story short here, essentially the build materials for these are now going to be the equivalent of a Tech 1 Titan, which means also the Vanquisher, Azariel, and Komodo will require the same material as that of, say, an Erebus or a Leviathan or a Ragnarok or whatever. What it does mean, however, the flip side of this, is that the intention of keeping Pirate Titans as the pinnacle means that the Pirate Titan Premium has therefore been moved to the Blueprint acquisition cost. Again, 150 billion at the time of writing on the test server for that Blueprint there. 150 billion ISK and 150,000 loyalty points. Not a cheap ship, all right? Not a cheap ship at all. Putting all the costs into the Blueprint and reducing the build costs means that the Blueprint itself is expensive, but it actually does reduce the cost overall, theoretically, because that Blueprint copy, I think, has a couple of runs on it, doesn't it? 3 runs? Oh, no, it's 1 run. No, ignore that. It's 1 run copy. Yeah, either way, they're making it more expensive to get, which makes them very lucrative to sell on the market if you've got spare LP, but at the cost of the fact that, yeah, they're going to be cheaper to build. These BPCs have been expensive to source, many of them only being obtainable from pirate shipyard sites. In the case of the Serpentis Vanquisher, only available through the Serpentis LP store. The majority of its cost was in build materials and comparatively cheap Blueprint cost. Consequently, the base cost of LP needed to purchase its Blueprint has been increased at the same time as a reduction in build materials. Having that upfront premium means that changes to a ship's position in the ecosystem based on their valuation will be more impactful and not dependent on the alteration of Blueprint materials. And this I agree with. I've seen a lot of people on Reddit basically saying, oh, what's the point in this? Because, you know, all it's doing is making the Blueprint more expensive while the materials are cheaper, therefore it balances out, right? Yeah, it does, until Blueprint materials become cheaper or more expensive. The actual, you know, materials that you're using to build it. The build materials, if those go up or down in price, then it changes the price a little bit. I don't know how to describe it. I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know how to describe it. It means if the if the build materials go down, then the Titan does become cheaper to build. It kind of also keeps things at a nice point in the middle. If you've got a big expensive Blueprint that uses a ton of those, well, if, say, Blueprint materials drop by... build materials, I keep saying Blueprint. Build materials were to unilaterally drop by 10%, then a 10% reduction on 1 million of something is a lot more of a reduction than 10% reduction if you're only using 100,000 of that material, right? Just as an idea, just as an explain there. It means that these are actually going to stay nice and expensive, and it's just sort of future-proofing it, I think, which I agree with. I don't understand Titan economics and things. I don't pretend to. I don't fly Titans. And again, I'm in a wormholing corp. Very few of us even fly capitals because we don't have the need for them so much. But I see that as a good thing. You know, personal experience perhaps is lacking, but I see that as a good thing. Come 14th of November, the mighty Azariel from the Angel Cartel will claim its place in the formidable Titan ecosystem, and its monstrous DPS and killer looks promise to make it every bit as special as capsuleers have been hoping for since those original concept drawings were shared. A lot of love has been put into the Azariel, both in terms of design and aesthetics. We can't wait to see it in space and in your hands, and I'm looking forward to seeing the first kill mail of it as well. Look at it. Again, I love the glowing Angel Cartel logo in this thing. This is a stunning ship. They're all stunning ships, and yeah, I'm going to come back to the whole point that I do honestly wish that the alligator, the mamba, heck, even the worm, the healer, and the rattlesnake had a little bit more variation to their hulls compared to the Tech 1 Caldari versions. I mean, if you look at something like a Drake compared to a Nighthawk, or a Corax compared to a Crane's the hauler. You know what I'm trying to say, the one up from that. Yeah, they do have a little bit of differentiation in the hull design, and I do still hope that CCP will go back and redo the Guristas Pirates ships to not just be a Drake with a skin, that it has a couple of different details on the hull that actually makes it stand out. Like, if you look at a Thrasher and a Thrasher Fleet issue, you can see that they are completely different ships, right? You can see that they're based on the same design, but they are different ships. Same with something like the Rifter, the Rifter, the Jaguar, and the Wolf. You can see they're all based on the same hull, but there's enough variation to make them a distinguishable silhouette as well. And I'd love to see that happen to the Guristas ships. But again, Oh god, I want it. Oh god, I want the Kisriel. This is probably one of my favourite looking hulls in the game right now. Just, oh, this may replace the Vagabond as my go-to hull at this point. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, folks, that's about everything I want to cover here. If you do have any questions about all of this, again, there's more information that isn't mentioned here, stuff that I may have forgotten to cover. I was there at FanFest. I was talking to a lot of the developers about the stuff coming in Havoc. I'm super hyper and excited to see where this is coming. And on 14th of November, I cannot wait to jump into a Kisrael and a Alligator and start giving you guys some feedback on how those ships actually fly. So yeah, bear that in mind if you fancy, donating a hull to your favorite YouTuber. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching right the way through to the end on this one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.